I just finished season 2 of Avatar The Last Airbender, and today we're going to talk about it. Spoilers. Comparing to season 1, this season felt a little bit, at least to me, more thought out and more serious. Not by a lot, because the first season also is very thought out and has some serious tones. But to me, this season felt like it touched on a lot more things that typical TV shows with lore and backstories and all that other stuff typically has. Kind of something like character growth, past things getting brought up, and more storytelling elements rather than focusing on just trying to make kids laugh during the day. Avatar definitely strays away from what was typical to be aired on Nickelodeon during that time for many reasons, but it's more clear that this show is taken more serious than others. It has more elements of an anime rather than a cartoon on a primetime kids TV channel. While still being a funny show, it deals with a lot of real life problems and feelings. Anyways, what do I like about this season? For starters, I like seeing these characters develop. More on that later, but I was also surprised to see the Avatar state being a big motive in this season. I figured that Aang would just use it more and more and then eventually get better over time, but that's not the case. Aang struggles with the Avatar state and controlling it. Plus, he hates going into it. It scares his friends, he hurts people, and if he dies while he's in it, then that is it for the reincarnation of the Avatar. So, yeah, want to be careful. It's a lot at stake when he's in there, and he doesn't like to use its power. The majority of this season focuses on the side plot of Aang learning the Avatar state, and I think that's pretty cool. I would have to say I do like that this show focuses more on not just like the main character is just like he knows everything. Like I like that he struggles with it, which is pretty much the main focus on this show. There's really not too much I don't like about this season. There are some boring episodes that added little story to it, and those kind of get draggy. Other than that, I actually really enjoyed this season. I'm sure there's some things that I didn't like, but I'd have to rewatch it to be reminded, which in my eyes, I think that's a plus. There's not really like a thing that's like, oh my God, but whenever blah, blah, blah happens, you know what I mean? So in my eyes, that's a plus. Let's talk about some of my favorite episodes. Episode 5, Avatar Day, is badass because we actually call upon and turn into the past Avatar Kyoshi. Whenever this happens, Aang also fights with the fans that she uses, which is pretty cool. I don't know. I just kind of like this episode. Blind Bandit, we meet Toph. Toph is such a good addition to the gang. She fits in perfectly. Zuko alone is another great episode because we learn more about Zuko's childhood, his upbringing. In this episode, we kind of see him realizing what he wants, but at the end of the season, it appears that his love for his father is strong and still clouding up his mind. You know, he still is kind of on the fence on what Zuko wants rather than what Lord Ozai wants. Zuko helps a little kid in this episode and gives him kind of like a big brother treatment for a couple of days before hitting the road. And once the family learns that he's Fire Nation, they quickly turn their back on him and they hate him. Which, once again, it shows that the Fire Nation is unforgivable to a lot of citizens. And this bothers Zuko, you know? But he's come to an acceptance of it. Like whenever he talks to Katara in the season finale, and Katara says that the Fire Nation took her mother away from her, he was kind of just like, sorry about that. He's like, I'm sorry. I mean, there's nothing for me to say. You know, he doesn't really defend it. So, you know, Zuko, man, want to talk about character growth. He understands them and is ashamed of the things that the Fire Nation has done. Appa's Lost Days was a good episode because, I mean, it's Appa, man. Come on. He's such a good boy. Lake Laogai. Why does that sound wrong? Lake Laogai, that's also a pretty cool episode. The fact that hypnosis is going on, that's kooky, spooky, and cool. Least favorite episode is probably The Cave of Two Lovers, just simply because we barely learn anything, you know? I mean, we do, but like not much. It's kind of just whatever. It's forgettable. Before we go into a very quick synopsis of what happens in this season, which you should, if you haven't watched the show, you should just watch it, but I'm sure all you already have. I want to talk about kind of like more of my expectations going into this season. What did I think the season would focus on, and was I wrong? Yes, I was wrong. I thought the Avatar state would only come out when he's mad and losing in a fight, but then we try to control it for many episodes. Like I said before, that was unexpected. I also thought that Zuko was going to talk to the gang and become part of the squad this season, and he hasn't yet. I mean, we talked to him a little bit, but, he still don't really know what's going on. So I wasn't expecting Toph to show up. Season starts off, the Avatar State is they go to Earth Kingdom. The ruler is trying to force the Avatar State out of Aang, and he can't do it unless he realizes that real danger is apparent. And then we get some more information on what the Avatar State is. Cave of Two Lovers. I mean, Katara and Aang kiss. That's pretty much the majority. That's like pretty much it. We find out that the like mole rat things are like the first earthbenders, or like the spirit of earthbending, something like that. Episode 3, Return to Omashu. We go to meet King Bumi, and Omashu has been taken over by the Fire Nation. Have to fight Azula and her gang, which I will talk about later on. And yeah, we learned that we need to practice to be more neutral and not so aggressive in fights, and kind of hear everybody out. The swamp. We end up in a swamp that's like mystical and spiritual. Sokka ends up seeing Yue from a vision. Aang sees Toph, but he hasn't even met her yet. And Katara ends up seeing her mom. Then we pretty much realize that everything's all connected. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's another kind of, boring episode, but whatever. Avatar Day, we get captured. We get the option to leave the place that we're at, but Aang decides that he doesn't want to leave because these people actually don't like the Avatar, and he wants to prove them wrong, and just out of the good of his heart. We find out that the reason why they don't like the Avatar is because Avatar Kyoshi killed their leader. They thought that was a crime, but then Katara has the idea to put on Kyoshi's clothes, and maybe Kyoshi will just appear out of nowhere and tell them what actually happened. And that does happen, which is pretty cool. Shot in the dark, but hey, whatever. Kyoshi, she comes up and she's just like, yeah, I killed your mans, all right? She tells a story. They found out what really happened, which was, honestly, I kind of forgot. I think he like betrayed them or something, and then she like split the island, and Azula and them pulled up on them, and then Avatar saved the day. Actually, I don't think it was Azula. I think it was actually somebody pulled up on them, and then they ended up saving the day. While Zuko has been running away from, the Fire Nation because he was supposed to be a prisoner and then he dipped. He's been going MIA with him and Iroh. Zuko decides to go alone, and he goes into a little Earth Kingdom town, finds a family, they feed him, and he kind of helps with work for a while. He stands up to the earthbending guards, who are dickheads. They kind of idolize that. They thought that was really cool, so they feed him, give him work. He meets a kid, shows him some things, and talk with him. We learn a lot about his childhood, and eventually they find out that he's Fire Nation, and they hate him, and then he goes back on the road. They get in an argument with Toph, and Aang is saying that like, I don't need to learn from you, and then she runs away. And Azula and her gang are trailing them the entire time. Every time they land and go to sleep, Azula finds them. So they just keep on running. Appa is shedding, so they keep on finding them. We fight a couple of times. Toph eventually runs into Iroh, and they start chatting, and Iroh makes her some tea, which is a bomb tea. That's Iroh's special. Iroh kind of gives her some advice, and they're gang now. Then we get in a standoff with Zuko, Aang, and Azula. And Azula is so freaking overpowered, dude. She's so strong. Iroh gets struck by lightning by Azula, and Katara tells Zuko, like, hey, I can heal him, I can help. And he yells at him, tell him to go away, and, throws fire at them. And they finally let him be. Iroh ends up being all right. That's good. Sorry, I had to look back for that episode. Number 9, bitter work. Pretty much Aang just can't. He's struggling with earthbending. Toph teaches him, kind of just like an internal thing. He keeps on running away from the rock whenever it's about to hit him, and he just learns how to earthbend this episode. Number 10, the library. They go into a library. It starts sinking. They learn that they need to strike the Fire Nation during a solar eclipse, which is happening soon, because they don't have the sun. So without the sun, they're a lot weaker because they feed off of the sun. So they find that out. The library starts sinking. Toph saves the gang, but cannot save Appa, and Appa gets trapped and lost. During this time, Aang is very upset. Everyone's getting cranky because they're walking everywhere because they don't have Appa. Yeah, they find out that they sold Appa, and he's in Ba Sing Se. While we're going to Ba Sing Se, Fire Nation is planning on attacking. Episode 12, we find out that Azula is planning an attack on Ba Sing Se, which we're heading there. there, and Zuko and Iroh also heading there. So yeah, we're all about to be in the same town. Episode 13, we arrive at Ba Sing Se, and we get a vibe that the people in this town are kind of creepy. But we find out that they're all hypnotized. There's a seeker force in the town that is trying to keep things civil and lawful, but really the leader is just trying to rule. Tales of Ba Sing Se, we get a lot of short stories about what's going on with all the gang. And Iroh has one where we find out a little bit more about him losing his son and him kind of dealing with that. There's really not much that goes on with these, other than it's just nice stories showing what they're doing. Appa's Lost Days, it kind of shows his side of things, what he's been doing since he's been missing. Lake Logai, we find out where Appa is. We find out who's all hypnotized, including Jet. Jet is hypnotized. Yeah, we put an end to that. Have to tell the Earth Kingdom King person about it, and he doesn't believe it, but finally show him evidence that there's people getting hypnotized, and then the guy gets arrested, the leader of the Dai Li. That kind of takes place over episode 16 and 17, and then episode 18, which is the finale. Appa met a guru at the Eastern Air Temple, and Aang goes there to try to master his avatar state. But while he's in this journey, he sees that Katara is under attack and has been captured by Azula and her friends pretending to be the Kyoshi warriors. Aang quickly flies on over to back to Ba Sing Se to save her, and he can't finish his training. And they said without completing the process that he won't be able to enter the avatar state at all, and he still goes. But later on, he goes into the avatar state again. He can go back into it. Yeah, Katara gets arrested, and Zuko also gets arrested, and Katara and Zuko kind of talk a little bit. They kind of talk about their families and see that they kind of have similarities. But at the end of the day, they still fight. Azula convinces Zuko to turn and fight the gang, and then they do. And Zuko's still kind of on the fence of everything. I skimmed over so much of that, but that is pretty much the spark notes of the whole season. Let's talk about these characters a little bit. So first off, Aang. This whole season he's been going into the avatar state, trying to learn how to really master that, which is very hard. And he gets mad whenever Appa leaves and gets lost. He kind of gets mad at everyone. But then we learn that him and Appa, they've been together forever, so it kind of makes sense why he would be so mad. Aang, he just learns a lot this season. Also same with the first season, but really the second season he learns a lot about what he's capable of and just stuff like that. Not really much changes. He just gets more wiser. So, hell yeah. Katara, obviously now being a master waterbender, she is cold with it. She actually knows how to fight pretty well with waterbending. In the first season she wasn't really a force to be reckoned with, but in this season she definitely is. I like Katara. She keeps everyone level-headed. She don't really act out in her feelings, so I really like that. She stands up for Toph in one of the episodes, which I really liked. Sokka, same old Sokka, man. Not really much going on with him. He's comic relief for sure. I like Sokka, man. He's, keeping it cool. Never betrays the gang. I fuck with Sokka. Zuko and Iroh. Iroh, same old Iroh. Wise, cool. Also comic relief. We find out that he can breathe fire. That's why they call him the Dragon of the West. So badass. Zuko, near the end is whenever he really started to, actually truly be happy. Whenever, Iroh got his own shop, he really got happy whenever he threw away the blue spirit, because that's what he needed in order to be good. He needed to hide his face. Whenever he talked to Katara, he said that Katara said oh, whenever I picture evil, I picture, and he's like, my face. And she is like, yes. And he thought she was talking about the scars. So clearly he feels that with that burnt face, he feels like he's almost scarred to be a bad person and be tied with Fire Nation, which is not true. But Katara offered to heal his face with the water from the Northern Water Tribe. We get interrupted, so she can't do that. But she ends up using that water on Aang because he gets struck by lightning in the Avatar state and he wasn't looking too hot and she needed to do it. But I have a feeling she might still heal his face later, which if she does, then I feel like that would be a turn to leaf for Zuko. But Zuko's character development, W. Talking to that kid, it shows that he does have a heart. In his childhood, he's had a heart. Azula pushes his buttons a lot. He's got a lot on his mind. Some new characters, Toph. Toph is awesome. I like her story, even though she's little, she's blind. Her family thinks she's, not worthy to fight and she's weak, but she's actually like one of the strongest earthbenders we've seen yet. She can't see, but you forget about that. She sees through her feet because she's an earthbender. That's just cool. She bends metal, which not even like common earthbenders can do. Well, she doesn't bend metal, but like she can like destroy metal with her strength. She does it whenever she's trapped. She's friends with Iroh. Whenever Iroh pulls up to the house, she's like, I know this guy. And then that's whenever Iroh comes up and he's like, I need help from you guys trying to save Zuko. So dub. Iroh also, that shows that Iroh trusts us to help with his family, So Iroh's fully on board with being on our squad. So, gotta fuck with Iroh, man. Let's talk about Azula, man. Let's talk about Azula. First off, what a cool villain. Azula, she's scary. She's definitely about it. She's definitely the conqueror type. Like, she's like, I will kill literally anybody to get what I want, and I'm gonna get what I want. She's a badass villain, man. She shoots lightning. I mean, come on, man. And then Ty Lee, I don't know why whenever she touches people, they can become paralyzed and they can't bend. I don't know how that works. I'm sure I'll learn about it. I may have already learned about it and I just forgot. I don't know. But that's kind of overpowered. And then May, she's kind of just like meh about everything. Kind of funny. I like that. There's that trio. I do like the trio. Yeah, Azula. What an awesome villain. Definitely more scarier than Zuko. Sorry, Zuko, but it's true. I don't know, man. It's just... It's a cool story. Obviously, we get more in depth with this is the Earth book, so we're spending a lot of time in Earth bending villages, Earth Kingdom. It's a cool place. I don't know. Ba Sing Se, the guards at Ba Sing Se, they have like rock gloves that they can shoot at people, which is awesome. And whenever they arrest people, it like forms into handcuffs. There's a lot of just cool stuff like that. Whenever Toph is like needing to travel fast, she like lifts up the ground and like kind of like surfs on it. That's really cool. I also like on the episode where they're getting chased by Azula and the gang, even whenever they're sleeping and they can't hear anything, Toph is like, there's someone chasing us. It's just cool. The lightning stuff is cool. Aang does not use his super speed enough. I wish he uses his super speed more because that is overpowered and he like doesn't do it. So hopefully like later on he starts using that more. So kind of questions that I have for the next season. I hope early on Zuko is like, I'm joining you guys. I'm tired of Azula's stuff. And I don't care about if my father takes me back or not. I'm turning a new leaf. I am Zuko. I hope that he does that early, please. I'm waiting for that big final battle. It's crazy that I'm already on the 3rd season. I don't know. I feel like we still got so much to do. If we get Iroh and Zuko on our side, they can teach us firebending fast. And then Aang will have all 4 earth, water, fire, air. All 4 of the elements under wraps, and he's close to learning about the Avatar state. Seems kind of cool. What else? I kind of hope we see more of Yue, the moon girl. I'm ready for the solar eclipse to happen, so then we can see, how that goes. Maybe Zuko and Azula will literally just scrap. Zuko try to learn lightning. I hope he learns that and then surprises Azula with how much he can learn without Fire Nation. He could be like, I don't need to be licking on Fire Nation's balls to actually proceed in life. And she'll be like, it's like, let's see what you learn. And then he beats her. That'd be awesome. Beats her. That's crazy. I'm just excited. I'm going to start watching it tonight. My final review, what do I think about this season? I definitely thought, honestly, controversial opinion, I think season 1 finale was better than season 2. Season 2 finale kind of was very abrupt, and that's probably on purpose, but I'm sure season 3 finale is probably going to top both of them, but we'll see. Azula, insane villain. Zuko, awesome character story. Him being literally the main villain of the first season and trying to decide on who he really is, and he's on a fence and he's got the devil and angel on his shoulder, and then at night he stays up thinking about who Zuko is. I love that. Honestly, probably my highlight of the series right now, Iroh. Come on, it's Iroh. Come on, man. Gotta love Iroh. I want to drink some tea with Iroh. Anyways, I think that this season is very solid. If I had to put it on like I don't really want to put it on a 1 out of 10 scale because I don't really have nothing really to compare it to in regards to other TV shows. If I had to, I'd put it at like a 8.5 on my actual rating on what I would rate it. I would say it's definitely good. Watch it with your friends if they are caught up with you. Watch it while you do cardio because that's what I do and I get sucked in. I do more cardio. So that's always awesome. Yeah, it's an awesome show. I'm so excited for season 3, but I am not excited for the show to end. But then we'll watch Legend of Korra, see what that has in store for us. Season 3, gonna start watching that tonight. Let me know in the comments what you guys think and I will see you Wednesday. Peace.